Ethan of H3 has been having a heck of a time lately. Obviously, lots of people are enraged about the Israel-Palestine stuff, but most recently, someone posing as an employee of Ethan and Hila called into CPS and said that the kids were crawling around on the floor, eating dog poop that was just laying about. And you have people like Denims and BadEmpanada who just took it and ran with it as if it were complete fact. And if you can believe it, Ethan felt the need to reply to those claims. I guess he thought those were significant or something, but he's once again uploaded a video to the H3 Productions video responding to these people.
In my long career on YouTube, I've pretty much seen it all. I've been swatted several times with LAPD helicopters, the street shut down, police with guns drawn, doing a perimeter around my house. We've also been visited by the FBI 3 times. They were all to warn us of a credible threat against our lives. One time, most recently, he came at 7 a.m. and said, "Do not open any packages until you hear from me, as we have credible bomb threats against you that we found online." I thought I'd seen it all. I knew this.
It's the more and more I hear people, it seems like it's just not worth getting to this level of fame. Like, yeah, if you can make solid money doing YouTube or whatever content creation stuff, that seems pretty cool. But being, like one of the 1% of the 1% people who make it doing content creation, it just sounds like it's way too much attention. It sounds awful.
Content nuke was going to draw a lot of negative attention, seeing how extreme Hasan and his fan base are and his orbiters. But the lengths to which they've gone to harass us and get revenge for going after their god king Hasan has frankly gone beyond any type of point of civility and humanity, to the point where they're calling CPS, Child Protective Services, to come to our house and break up our family. On Friday morning, an agent showed up to our house saying that they had received an anonymous tip that our children were crawling around in dog shit, eating dog shit, and contracting diseases. Not only have they called CPS on us, now they're starting to try to call in a 5150 to get me.
Stop. Shouldn't someone 5150 him at this point? He is not well. Ethan mad at journalists, thinks they're all conspiring against him. Hila thinks Hasan paid PR. Ethan asked ChatGPT for a better article. I almost feel bad watching this because it legitimately feels like Ethan's spiraling mentally and needs serious help. He has a wife encouraging his paranoia, absolutely zero friends looking out for him, and neglectful parents. I wish someone on the crew would have enough sense to 5150 him, but clearly they all sold out for a paycheck long ago, and that's the only thing they care about. It's just crazy. Like, I don't think people understand how terrible it is to be 5150'd. Obviously, there are situations where it's necessary, but I mean, your free will is just completely taken away from you, and you have to convince people that you're of sound mind when obviously if it gets to the point where they're actually 5150 and they're pretty convinced that you're not. It really is one of the most terrifying things I can think of. Oh, and this person touched on absolutely zero friends looking out for him. Ethan did a stream recently talking about iDubbbz and Anissa, who were friends of his. They did collab videos in the past. And Ethan essentially said, I'm not saying these people are terrible, awful people or anything, but they're definitely no friends of mine because an editor, maybe a former editor, I don't remember for sure, but an editor of iDubbbz's channel was just perpetuating all of these, Ethan stories about how bad he is, and Ian and Anissa just they have nothing to say about it. So Ethan's like, well, not friends anymore. Really, it's got to be one of the most isolating experiences ever, what Ethan's been going through lately.
Committed. It's really gone on too far, and at this point, I'm ready to take no prisoners, take the gloves off, and call out everybody who needs to be called out. The thing is, once you target my children, then a line's been crossed that cannot be walked back. Once my kids are involved, when people are targeting my children, harassing my children, there's no length that I won't go to take care of this. And I think that's something that every parent can relate to. All these people, incidentally, who are promoting this type of insanity are, in fact, childless and will likely remain that way. The CPS agent
I mean, while that probably is true, I think you're giving these people a little bit too much of a pass by just saying, "Oh, they're childless." Like, it's clearly malicious at this point to be calling CPS, doing a false report, straining an overworked department that has really important work to do, right? There are situations where CPS is absolutely needed to protect these children, and people are just doing false reports, wasting these people's time. And so there's another case that could have been looked at that day that wasn't because people called in Ethan and Hila.
showed up and he started asking us all kinds of questions like, who feeds the kids? Who takes care of the kids? What do you do to the kids when you get angry? How do the kids sleep? Do the kids have toys? What happens when you get mad, or what happens when your kids get mad? He walked around the house. He looked in our refrigerator. He walked all around looking for dog shit, apparently, although when he showed up immediately, he said, wow, this place is clean. Our 3- and 5-year-old boys were at school. Our 8-month-old is upstairs sleeping when he visits, and he says, I need to go upstairs and look at your infant visibly to see him and confirm he's okay. Well, he's napping in his crib. He goes upstairs to look around the house, to snoop around. He investigates Sonny, our youngest, wakes him up from his nap. And even though he woke him up during his nap, he was greeted immediately, actually, by a smile, because Sonny is probably the happiest baby in the entire world. He smiles at everybody. His name is Sonny because he is just a ray of sunshine. He just gave him a
Wait, so did you wait to name him until you saw his behavior a little bit? I think this could totally be something made up that I heard one time, but I think that's like what Native Americans did. But even then, I don't think it was your like they gave you a name to start off, and then they gave you another one later on down the road once they knew more about you. But did they wait to name him?
a big smile. I mean, he's just the sweetest kid in the world. So we went back downstairs to continue the conversation, at which point he said something that both me and Hila had us both saying abso-fucking-lutely not. He said he was going to go to the children's school to interrogate them there. We both said, you are absolutely not going to ever go to their school and talk to them. That is fucking insane. We agree.
Imagine how embarrassing that would be as a child. Like, oh, hey, we just need to take so and so out of class because it sounds like their parents are terrible, worthless POSs. Like, it truly is just insane that people are willing to do this because they dislike Ethan.
Agreed that he'll come back to our house and interview our 3- and 5-year-old children at a time when they're at home, so he doesn't need to humiliate them in front of his peers, his teachers, the staff there, and needlessly stigmatize them. My young 3- and 5-year-old children, who are sweet and innocent as can be, have not yet been interrogated by a CPS agent, but that is due to happen on Wednesday. He also spoke to our nanny, our housekeeper. He's called the pediatrician that takes care of the kids. He talked to them. Pretty much sifted through every angle of our life having to do with our kids in an extremely violating, insulting, unbelievable way. Just a complete breach of privacy and inhumanity that it's like you can't believe that you, as somebody who has done nothing wrong, has taken care of your kids, to be subject to this forcible investigation because of some fucking freaks online called anonymously to say that our kids are crawling around in shit. The immediate question for me was, who did this and how am I going to hold them accountable? It didn't take me long to catch the trail of the obvious suspect, which is the work of a subreddit dedicated to harassing me, my family, my coworkers, and their families too, frankly, known as Snark. H3 Snark is the place that they originated. If you don't know what Snark is, it's this growing phenomenon of communities dedicated essentially to destroy someone's life, picking it apart, harassing them, and just trying to ruin their life. It's something that's become quite common on the internet, and something that Reddit, who is the main host of such activities, has completely turned a blind eye to. Take, for example, right here, H3H3_, which is the new snark page. The top post on this page is from somebody named BadEmpanada, which we'll learn more about. It says, BadEmpanada with another banger. Quote, "You're the best parents I've ever seen," said house slave Abdullah Ayad to the Kleins after CPS visited them because their kids contracted parasites from dog feces. The Kleins frequently advocate for genocide of Arabs while Ayad sits obediently in silence. He is a tame domestic animal. This is just literally, anyone of a normal disposition can see plainly how fucking insane this is. It has 400 upvotes after 3 hours.
Just completely unhinged, straight up dehumanizing the guy, comparing him to animals, and I guess a slave too. So I think it truly is insane that the H3 snark has anywhere near the following that it does. These people have just gotten so lost.
It's a very active sub of absolutely deranged individuals. The problem is that this subreddit, this community, is being legitimized by creators such as Hasan, such as Denims, such as Mike from PA, and all these leftist commentators who think they can get one up on me by sicking and participating and legitimizing the most crazed psychopaths on the internet.
I bring this to YouTube because I respect the H3 snark and I believe that they're being silenced. And
that is a wild statement to say that you support your, what did he say exactly?
Psychopaths on the internet.
I bring this to YouTube because I respect the H3 snark.
He respects H3 snark. That that is completely wild. And if you think I'm just an Adam McIntyre hater, I have done 2 videos on the guy, and one of them was related to a spat he got into with H3, and I took Adam's side on that one.
Snark, and I believe that they're being silenced. And I saw on the H3 snark that Ethan had uploaded Instagram stories about Mika's rhetoric that says,
and it's about the H3 snark subreddit. For more than a year now, Ethan has been talking about it and saying how toxic this place is, how they promote harassment, doxing, stalking, and why it should be banned.
Jesus, look at the bites he's taking here. His mouth is completely full, chipmunk style.
I believe these snark subreddits on Reddit should be banned. It's literally fostering the most psychopathic. It encourages harassment, doxing, stalking. It's just it.
Look how long he has to chew. Take human-sized bites, Hasan.
I guess it's fine as long as it's not the Destiny subreddit.
I think it's time to hold all of them accountable. Here, for example, is Denims, aka Hasan Waiting Room, watching BadEmpanada talk about the state of our house and how we take care of our kids. Let's take a look.
He lets his dogs shit all over his mansion, and he just leaves the shit on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. So I would assume he doesn't actually have a housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit. And he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog shit, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it.
All these people in the chat are just taking it at face value. Child endangerment much? CPS, social services. Bro, someone needs to unironically call CPS. Child endangerment. Okay, if his kids have giardia, they actually need to be taken away. Actual worst father ever. That's all they need. Oh, BadEmpanada said this is what's going. Then it must be true.
I don't know if they eat it or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something, but they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called giardia from the dog shit that is all over his house.
Dude, how is it that like maybe once a week I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, and every time I manage to find more and more terrible shit. This is where Ethan tells a story about
because you just believe everything. Anything bad that anybody says about Ethan, you believe. So if that's your approach, yeah, you're going to hear a lot of bad things about people.
his family getting giardia.
We already have mold Mondays. Now we have shit Saturdays.
Also, this is not a joking matter, by the way. It can be very severe and deadly to small children. I mean, much like many other illnesses, it's very, very, very dangerous when infants get the same sicknesses that adults get. There are lots of things that you can get as an adult. You're totally fine. You'll be A-okay. No problem. a child, a small infant that has no immune system, shouldn't be catching anything.
Now, at this point, as he continues,
Shouldn't be catching anything. I mean, that is just not true. It's unavoidable. I mean, I remember every single year when after summer vacation you go back to school, get sick every single time because you're around a bunch of kids who have, you know, at best average hygiene at that point in life.
notice
And yes, obviously you should do what you can to avoid getting sick and your kids getting sick and all of that. But also you do kind of need to get sick somewhat to build up your immune system at all. Now, Giardia specifically, yeah, probably shouldn't be getting that one.
the chat is almost in complete universal agreement. Call CPS. Call child endangerment. CPS.
Oh, shoot, he reads the same ones I did. My bad.
Social services. Bro needs to unironically call CPS. That's child endangerment. Okay, if his kids have Giardia, they need to be taken away. Actual worst father ever, etc., etc. I'll let the chat play for you, but you can see just how crazed this community is. And once again, this is Denim's chat from the 1st. The call came on the 3rd.
No wonder his house is covered in dog shit, and his neglected children raised by nannies have contracted parasites previously unknown to science from the feces. I wonder why he skipped over all of this, because everything that he said, everything that I said in this story, which by the way was apparently compiled by his crew, playing.
No wonder this motherfucker is always sick. Yeah. Yeah, it all makes sense now.
By the way, these people can't keep their
It all makes sense. Somebody said a bad thing about Ethan, and I take it at face value, so now everything makes sense.
talking point straight. On one hand, it's we don't raise our kids and our house is just run by nannies and housekeepers. But on the other hand, we also keep our house so dirty that there's dog shit everywhere. I mean, what are the housekeepers and nannies doing?
It all makes sense now. It makes sense why he doesn't care about Palestinian children when he is neglecting his own. How is this happening? How is it happening?
Well, it's not. That's how.
How is this happening?
I have a 10-month-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old who are in school. Of course, I'm sick all the time. Once again, these childless people pretend that this is uncommon when, of course, anybody with any sense who's being honest. The thing is, these people are knowingly lying. They know that they're lying. It makes no sense what they're saying, but they do it anyway. Because, as you can see in the chat, and Denims endorses this clearly, as you can see, she's not moderating this at all. And it's pretty much 100% of the comments saying call CPS.
Well, yeah, why would she moderate it? She's just agreeing with them.
On them. Their kids should be taken away. That she believes that it's justified to break up our family. This disgusting fucking human being who's endorsed by Hasan and the entire...
Yeah, these kids have, one of the coolest lives you can have, probably, growing up in a very rich household. Don't have to want for basically anything. And a bunch of freaks online are like, oh, let's take those kids away from that and potentially put them into the system.
Entire left community on Twitch, who is protected and elevated by Twitch, is on her platform right now advocating for our children to be forcibly removed from us by Child Protective Services. Denims is such an evil person. She is not responsible enough to have a platform. She should not be allowed to broadcast videos ever again. Now, you might wonder, what is it they're referring to? On the podcast, I was telling a story about we adopted a new dog about a month ago, and she was having diarrhea, which ended up being a extremely common stomach parasite that causes diarrhea. It's extremely common, and it's very easy to address. In fact, Ducky, our Yorkie, when we got him as a puppy, also had Giardia, and we treated him the same way. Let's see what I said about it. That Olive has Giardia, which is a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea.
And Olive has this?
Olive has this, yeah. She came to us with it.
Okay.
She had diarrhea, and
oh, poor baby.
Ducky came to us with that too. So she has Giardia, so we have her on an antibiotic, but we had to wait until Monday, which is today. We just got it today. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia. Again, any reasonable person or parent understands that having a 10-month-old that is just learning to crawl, is crawling around everywhere, putting everything in his mouth. I mean, these kids will literally just lick the floor, put anything in the world in their mouth, and that's completely normal. That's what having a toddler is like.
And even a little bit longer than I don't remember exactly how old I was when I did this, but I drank a bunch of there's like a big bottle of the contact cleaner fluid, hydrogen peroxide, I think it's called, and I just chugged it down and nearly had to go to the hospital. I think I puked my guts out or whatever. But like kids do absurdly stupid stuff and they'll consume anything. And I did look up just quickly. I mean, this is just a Google search, but it says you can get Giardia through ingestion of contaminated water or food, contact with infected surfaces or objects, and person-to-person contact. So it's not like you have to actually be eating dog poop or anything, right? The dog just being around and potentially getting anything on a toy or whatever or the carpet, that could be enough.
Olive is a black Labrador. She sheds a lot. She's inside. She's outside. She's very clean. But the point I'm making, again, which all reasonable people understand, is that Giardia can actually be spread just from a surface. So if her bum ends up on the floor, or she sheds some hair, or she sat on a toy, it could be a number of different things. If Sunny's crawling around putting everything...
Right, yeah, it took me 2 seconds to look that up because I'd never heard of Giardia before this. But no, BadEmpanada is just like, well, they must have eaten the poop. I mean, maybe they don't have to eat the poop, but either way. It's like, okay, man. You think if you make the claim, you'd at least look that up and be like, okay, well, they don't necessarily have to be eating straight up poop.
Everything in his mouth. It seems like a pretty reasonable suspect. If he's having diarrhea, we're like, oh man, maybe he got Giardia from Olive, which is actually commonplace to happen. And despite what Denim says, it is not certain death. It's actually completely normal to happen, and it's very easy to treat. Now, spoiler alert, it actually turns out when we got all of the poop tests back that he never had Giardia even, which I announced on the show, which they conveniently forget. So the only person that ever even...
Very conveniently. They're very, very selective, these H3 snarkers in their ilk.
Announced on the show, which they conveniently forget. So the only person that ever even had Giardia was Olive. So Sunny was having diarrhea.
No, now you're lying, Ethan. You said Ducky had it too, right? I think that was the other dog's name.
Essentially, and that was and that's why they called CPS. Because my 10-month-old baby, who's just starting to eat solid food, had diarrhea. That's why these people think it's justified to send an agent of one of the most overworked, underfunded, underappreciated community service workers in the entire fucking world to come and waste their time because my son had a diarrhea. When in the city of Los Angeles, there are kids and families that absolutely need help from people like this, and this guy's wasting his...
Sure, but did any of those parents make a video about Hasan, Ethan? I bet not.
Fucking time coming to my house and doing an investigation on my kids because my 10-month-old baby had diarrhea. By the way, BadEmpanada was recently banned for 7 days for playing a video game in which you roleplay as Hamas on October 7th, and he went to a military compound in that game and said he was, quote, looking for secretaries to kill. He was looking for Hila, who was a secretary in the IDF, to murder her in a game where you play Hamas. This is the type of person that is being elevated.
I'd like to pay tribute to Ethan Klein and the new Twitch TOS that declares Zionism. Zion is the slur. I'd like to pay tribute to him by playing the first in Al-Aqsa video game where you kill Zionist soldiers as a Palestinian resistance fighter. Anyways, are these Israelis? They're just standing there? I mean... Is the Israeli army a bunch of Ethan Kleins? Like, they're all on a fucking Ozempic binge? They don't understand what's going on around them? They haven't noticed me? How do I win? What's my objective? I don't actually know. Where do they keep the secretaries? In here? I'm hunting for secretaries right now. Secretary got, on behalf of Ethan Klein, I give this game my seal of approval.
Here's BadEmpanada once again.
True gamer, really. But that is like the old school news media's conception of a gamer to a T there.
Who posted a story saying, I'm the one who called CPS on Ethan Klein. I want CPS to take his kids away because they are seriously in danger. This is, once again, BadEmpanada, who's being elevated by Hasan, Matt Lieb, Denims, and tons of creators, leftist creators all over the internet.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone else, please welcome BadEmpanada.
BadEmpanada's been going crazy at Ethan on the second channel. Well, yeah, because Ethan Klein is too afraid to talk to BadEmpanada or talk about BadEmpanada or watch any of his videos. So fucking milk that guy, dude. Hell yeah, BadEmpanada, go in.
Can we just like
This dude, BadEmpanada, I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's like actually psychotic, and he's been making a lot of hate videos about me and calling Hila a terrorist and baby killer and all.
Dude, every time Ethan Klein brings up BadEmpanada, I like him a little bit more. That's the truth. I didn't really have strong opinions on him, and every time he brings him up, I'm like, stop making him sound base, man. Come on. Stop.
BadEmpanada has just any excuse to talk negatively about Ethan Klein. They will jump.
Put out a video about H3H3, and this is just for my own pleasure that we're gonna watch it, because whenever BadEmpanada attacks H3H3, H3H3 has like a mental breakdown, and every time I watch this, it causes them to have even more of a mental breakdown.
On this Turk versus moron, he made a fucking Willie Mac show. Slob YouTuber Willie Mac show made a video covering the Gaza genocide because he noticed that putting Hasan's name in the title gets him more views than usual. It went about as well as you'd expect. Oh, dude. Okay. Critical support to BadEmpanada has gone up by wide margins now. Okay. Oh, this is on the BadEmpanada live channel. He didn't put this on the normal channel. Oh, my Lord. Oh, dude. BadEmpanada went from bad to good empanada. BadEmpanada went from BadEmpanada to based empanada.
Now, trust.
And that's what Hasan is saying now, but just like less than a year ago, this is the sort of stuff he was saying.
Amazing video about US-led dictatorship in Peru. Chat will definitely like this. Age-restricted, 1 hour and 14 minutes. Made by a dude who fucking hates me. This has got it all, folks. Yeah, let me go watch a video about a dude who constantly talks about how I'm fucking a reactionary fake socialist because I watch people's videos. That seems like a good idea. It's age-restricted, which means there's like TOS violations galore in there. Fucking BadEmpanada. The cringiest, like, classic angry leftist who never shuts the fuck up and is just angry at the entire planet. You're a propagandist, dumbass. Like, do it better, okay? Your job is to do propaganda. Do it better. I thought that BadEmpanada liked you. He used to. I think he doesn't like me because he hates he's like on board with like the React-gate shit. He's like, wow, Hasan just like reacts to videos and he's like stealing other people's labor. Yeah, he does not like me.
So here Hasan's like, no, BadEmpanada, he's awful. He's terrible. He's evil. He criticizes me. Can you believe it?
I'm never going to watch a BadEmpanada video on the stream. I'm just letting you guys know. If you think I'm going to fucking watch a YouTube essay from a dude literally openly antagonistic towards me watching fucking YouTube videos, you're out of your fucking mind, okay? You think I want him to write like 700 hours worth of new YouTube essays about how I have wronged him? I don't want that. I don't want that at all, okay? He would perhaps benefit tremendously if I did watch his YouTube videos on this channel, but I'm never going to fucking do that, okay? Yes, batshit insane leftists do actually make really good content from time to time. I think BadEmpanada would be one of the better content creators online if he just didn't have a Twitter account. Because he's such a fucking freak, dude. Oh my Lord, he is such a goddamn freak. He is the most insane person. He has like 7,000 accounts. I just said I have an official blockade on BadEmpanada videos on this broadcast while I'm live. That's number one. And number two, he's not just mean on Twitter. He is a psychopath, okay? The idea that he's just simply mean on Twitter is ridiculous. He is not just mean on Twitter. He is the most insane person on Twitter. He would perhaps benefit tremendously if I did watch his YouTube videos on this channel, but I'm never going to fucking do that, okay? Please.
So, yeah, well, that's what Hasan used to think about BadEmpanada, but now he's criticizing Ethan? Oh, he's based empanada.
Me, I would pursue legal action against BadEmpanada, whose MO is essentially defamation. He actually fled to Argentina like his Nazi predecessors, and unfortunately, it is very difficult to get to and sue people in Argentina. So enjoy the community of Nazi refugees. You will fit right in there, my friend. But don't worry, guys. Denim says, even if this did happen, it's nothing to worry about because children actually don't remember anything. Isn't that fucking awesome? Look at this. It might be the dumbest, most pathetic thing I've ever heard in my life. Here's Denims on the floor. And then the part that, in my opinion, crossed the line was like, so I'm going to visit your kids at school and ask them questions. And I says, you're not fucking doing that.
No,
I mean, we
that's-
both were like, that's not happening. You're not going.
Terrifying.
You are not doing that. So he agreed to come visit our
Coming back
house
next week.
when the kids are at home because he needs to fucking interview our kids as a matter of procedure.
But I was like, I really don't want you to create any bad memory here for them. Like, they are 5 and 3. They don't understand this shit. So I told him.
Create any bad memory for them. You're not forming memories at 3 years old, and it's very rare that you're forming memories at 5 years old.
I mean, there's a specific subsection of the population, very widely hated, perhaps the most widely hated, that like to say this sort of thing. Oh, they're kids, they won't remember. There's no harm. You know, the Dr. Disrespect types. To be clear, Dr. Disrespect is not that bad as far as we know, but either way, you get what I'm saying. Oh, and also, I don't remember how old I was when I drank the contact cleaning liquid, but it was before I was in school, so I was like 4 years old or something like that. I remember that for sure.
Nah, yes, you are. No, you're not. When we're talking about being able to remember, being able to recall memories, it's like 4 is the cutoff. But even if you are forming any memories at 4, you're not going to be able to remember them past like 15. You have maybe 1 or 2 memories. Talking to a random stranger once isn't really memorable for a kid. There's a wide variation across about the mean across methods, cohorts. The average age of adults' earliest memories is 3.5 years old. You're
So the age of the youngest one in this situation.
not really forming memories at 3.
You literally just read out of your mouth that the average adult starts forming memories at 3. What is happening? What universe do we exist in where this is a popular creator? One more time, guys, because it's absolutely fucking unreal. One more time, guys.
There's a wide variation across about the mean across methods, cohorts. The average age of adults' earliest memories is 3.5 years old. You're not really forming memories at 3. And it's pretty...
She's essentially just saying, so people start forming memories at 3, which essentially means you're not forming memories at 3. What?
rare to be forming memories, or like memories that you will keep like at 5.
How exactly am I supposed to get through to a person and convince her wrong when she's literally disproving herself on her own stream and then ignoring what just came out of her mouth 5 seconds earlier? Her defense for sending the CPS to break up our family and to interrogate our 3 and 5-year-old is that, don't worry, kids don't remember stuff, which just also, besides being pathetically sociopathically insane not to care about the well-being of kids, just demonstrably false. Everybody knows that the most formative years of a child's life is around that age of 4, 5, 6, 7, when kids really take in their environment and develop who they become as people. Pretending as if interrogating...
Well, yeah, and by that logic, if you had the Men in Black memory eraser thing, you could just do whatever you want to people because you're erasing the memory, so it doesn't matter, right? It's just completely idiotic.
My 3 and 5-year-old sons couldn't possibly cause any damage because they can't remember is the most insane, monstrous thing I could even imagine somebody to say about this. And it's just, beyond being insanely dumb, it's just callous, pathetic, and, well, really speaks for itself. It's the dumbest thing I think I have ever heard. Now, moving to Reddit, this whole theme of needing to call CPS on my kids is something that takes place on Reddit, originally from a subreddit called H3 Snark. On this subreddit, they have doxed us, harassed our employees, our Teddy Fresh employees who are not even related to the show, gone after crew members' parents, my parents, basically in every conceivable way that you can be harassed. These people have done it. Actually, the subreddit was closed indeed. However, not by Reddit. According to Reddit, this subreddit is still fully open and operational and is committing breaking no rules. What actually happened is that somebody within their community started informing on them. And we have these screenshots, which I have not shown before, but I'll show them to you now. Here, one of the mods is talking about a person named Sturgeon, which is also a co-mod. And here they say, Adi explained to me that Sturgeon had made a fake post, the quote Ramadan post, and had become more and more unhinged. Here the mods are talking about another fellow moderator of theirs and actively covering up the fact that their mod faked a post on the H3 Snark subreddit. What happened was this story got picked up that we were banning people wishing a happy Ramadan. We were removing the posts and banning them. And this whole narrative of me being Islamophobic started to form on their subreddit and getting picked up by shit tier content creators who don't give a fuck about anything. And we looked through our mod mail. We searched through it to see, well, this post, was it ever made? Because that's certainly not something we would ever do. And sure enough, there's zero record of it. It was completely fabricated. And when we said that it was completely fabricated, surprise, surprise, the person who posted it erased their account and erased the thread and completely disappeared. Yet the rumor continued to persist on their subreddit. It was never moderated. In fact, it was completely covered up by the mod team of H3 Snark. Here they are. Here's the mods doxing our office. Yes, this is actually a real screenshot. Hi, I know you're on break, so I'll just drop this info here in case you need it in the future. We found the H3 studio and Teddy Fresh actual address. On the right is H3, on the left is TF. Studio list.
You're unironically worse than the scary, evil Kiwi Farms at this point. Because Kiwi Farms does allow doxing because it's legal. For the most part, it's legal to dox people. But they have a very, very strong culture of don't tip the cow, don't touch the poo. And obviously, that some harassment does come from it. I'm not saying that none of it does, but the culture is very much against that. And if you insinuate or say that you want to interact with the lol cows or the targets at all, you will have a bunch of people replying to you, calling you regarded, calling you an idiot, telling you to get off the website, that they don't want you there. But the H3 Snark? No, none of that. Dox, harass, whatever you want.
Here's the link. It's identical to the H3. Here's their address. This is fucking insane. These are the moderators. This isn't even like the community members. These are the people running the fucking subreddit. These people are knowingly putting us and employees in danger by sharing this address with each other with malicious intent. So once I started discussing that we had an informant in their ranks that was sending me this kinds of stuff, surprise, surprise, the moderators deleted their accounts and voluntarily closed the subreddit. Fascinating. After H3 Snark closed down, all
Yeah, that's what innocent people do, Ethan. What's your point?
the users migrated to another subreddit, H3H3_productions. And if you can believe it, the H3H3_productions subreddit is actually even more insane because there's no active moderators. I encourage you guys just to hop on over to H3H3_productions and just look through it. Read the comments, look through the posts. You're not going to believe what you see there. And if you want to take a walk through memory lane, go over to H3 Snark 2 and see what the posts that are left up there and enjoy. Just to give you an idea about the CPS thing, here's an excerpt from the new Snark page, an exchange of great minds. All I know is that the more he's fucked with, the less he pushes Israeli propaganda. Therefore, I can only conclude that it is a good thing and that it must continue. The ethics of it mean absolutely nothing to me. A response? You summarized it pretty much. Now, this is all taking place on Reddit.
They're all in agreement. That's the culture there. It's like, yeah, good, get them. Do whatever you want. I mean, really, they're unironically worse than Kiwi Farms. And Kiwi Farms gets a ton of flack.
Active brigading harassment to the actual point of trying to break up our family and call CPS. Has Reddit done anything? Despite us complaining, making noise, reaching out for the past 2 years about this snark community, worse. I believe, and I will show you why, that Reddit is colluding with, protecting with the moderators of this snark community. I believe that there's admins that work inside of Reddit that are members of this community and actively protecting it. I will show you my evidence. The first thing is that Hila works with a management company who has a connection to Reddit community managers. We first went through them, an official channel, to say, hey, this snark is out of control. They're harassing us all. They're definitely violating your site rules. Can you look into it? A day later, guess what? The snark page was permanently closed. Hooray, we said. That was awesome. All we needed was one person to take a look at it, and obviously it wasn't compliant with the rules. Well, 3 days later, the snark page was reinstated fully, and they made this post to celebrate. H3 mod announcement. We're back after a much needed break. We are just a group of volunteers and we appreciate your patience. Our relationship with Reddit is currently better than ever, and we're in good communication with the admins. Now that to me stood out quite tremendously, considering that our subreddit with 600,000 users, the second biggest podcast subreddit on the entire site behind Joe Rogan, has never had contact with admins. They have never reached out to us. So why is it that...
Yeah, it seems kind of crazy that you would say that, even if that's the case. I would think you'd want to keep that in your pocket.
The admins are in constant contact with this small niche subreddit dedicated to harassing people, but we, one of the biggest subreddits on the website, have not heard a single word from them ever. When someone created a snark page dedicated to Hasan Piker, it was immediately deleted for harassment. Take a look. The subreddit was banned due to a violation of Reddit's content policy against harassing content. So it's harassing when it happens to Hasan Piker, but it's okay, great behavior when it happens to Ethan Klein. What's with the double standard? What about Trisha? Trishyland was a huge snark subreddit. It was super active, and these people were, really nasty. Trishyland was also banned. The reason given is this subreddit has been banned for excessive copyright removals. Now, that's specifically interesting and extremely suspect, considering we've performed dozens of copyright strikes on the snark subreddit. We have removed dozens of posts. All the posts we removed had zero commentary or specifically stated that their intention was to steal and siphon views from our property. Besides being granted dozens of DMCA takedowns, Reddit has actually had the nerve to serve us counter notifications on these, or to downright reject dozens and dozens of legitimate DMCA requests outright. Now, how the fuck does Trisha get her subreddit removed for copyright infringement? Meanwhile, when I try to do DMCA takedowns on the subreddit, they literally get denied by Reddit. It's my opinion that the stated reason of repeated copyright infringement is a total cover-up. Listen to Trisha in her own words describe how she got her snark permanently banned from Reddit.
It's like one of the downsides about being online, I'm sure, and then when you become a mom, I'm curious about how you're seeing and feeling about, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer this, but like it's one thing for you to insult me or the work I've done or me leaning into nostalgia, but it's another thing that if you bring my kids into it, I'm gonna throw hands.
Yeah.
And
it's
I'm
a
gonna
whole different thing.
find your profile. I'm not just gonna block it.
Oh yeah. Dude, I found him. I did a whole documentary on Reddit. I had a horrible snark Reddit that was posting pictures of her doctor, all this stuff like that, just making.
I thought that was the one rule people would be able to agree on. Let's keep the kids out of it. But no, not the snarkers.
Fun of her, showing where her future schools would be.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. So I did a whole documentary. I had a whole crew come out. It was a month process, and I did this whole documentary. I hired a private investigator.
So you
found
did a
everybody.
troll hunter.
Yeah.
Like,
1,000%. 1,000%. And ultimately, I don't even know if it'll come out because it worked. Now all my snark Reddits are taken down. The minute one is created, it gets taken down within 20 minutes.
They're yeah, we don't fuck with Trisha.
Yeah, I don't know. I called Reddit. I went on this website to get everybody who worked at Reddit. I said this is.
I've done all of that and more over a longer period of time, 2 years. With escalating levels of harassment. Why was it that Trisha and Hasan's were taken down, but mine remains up? Why did Reddit list the reason as copyright infringement when the actual reason was harassment, as explained by Trisha? By the way, the DMCAs are written by my attorney. It's not even some like ragtag bullshit where I do it myself. My attorney writes it out
what's a lawyer know about copyright?
reasoned, well-sourced, and Reddit ignores it. How is that possible? This is one of my favorite examples. We made a subreddit called Snark to make fun of snark subreddits in general. And the community was actually starting to pick up steam and become pretty active. Well, it was removed. Why was it removed? For harassment. But wait, it gets even better. A few days later, maybe a week later, it's back open. And the moderator now that owns the subreddit is a user named Shredder Cheese, which is a mod for H3 Snark. Shredder Cheese is a reference to a story they love to tell about how I killed my beloved dog Shredder by feeding him cheese. The mod for H3 Snark named Shredder Cheese is now the owner of Snark. How? Hila asks. I would also like to know, how the fuck is that possible? What the
Yeah, I don't know how you could possibly explain that unless there is at least one employee at Reddit who has some control in the moderation at a decent level that just despises Ethan. I genuinely don't know how else you make sense of that.
What the fuck is going on? Of all the harassing posts on the new Snark, the reports are being denied. Now, let me show you an example of one of the posts, just one of many, that Reddit refused to remove. The title is, I'm calling CPS on Ethan again. It says, this time because his kids are around Zionists, which is a high predictor for baby murder. This is a post that is still up on this subreddit that was reported, and Reddit admins reviewed this and said, no, this is compliant. In closing, let's take a look at Reddit's #1 rule for using their site. #1 rule. Remember the human. Reddit is a place for creating community and belonging, not for attacking marginalized or vulnerable groups of people. Everyone has a right to use Reddit free of harassment, bullying, and threats of violence. Communities and users that incite violence or promote hate based on identity or vulnerability will be banned. This post does not violate rules.
I don't use Reddit much. Once in a while for, a video like this, I'll go on there. But I thought Reddit's whole reputation was that like anything vaguely approaching mean is done. They don't do that anymore. Like back in the day, they had subs like Fat People Hate, where you just straight up have a sub dedicated to making fun of fat people. But now, at least the perception I thought was that they got rid of all that stuff, and you have to be very nice SJW style on that website. But for some reason, the H3 Snark gets a pass.
Rule #1, according to people that work at Reddit and have reviewed it manually. At first, I thought I was crazy. I was like, there's no way Reddit is actually colluding to protect them. But after 2 years passed and the shit just keeps piling up, there's literally no other conclusion that could explain this. In my content nuke, I explore the idea that Twitch has been ideologically captured, and the people in that company are using their terms of service selectively as a form of activism. They come down hard against people that they disagree with politically, and they ignore, protect, elevate the people that they do agree with politically. Something happened recently that's going to blow your mind. I started running reruns of Content Nuke on my Twitch channel as a form of protest, being petty, honestly, and just wanting people on Twitch to see the video I made. Well, wouldn't you know it, if on the same day we launched it, our stream was closed for 30 days. We got a suspension for 30 days. That's pretty severe. What is it that we did wrong? Encouraging or glorifying extreme violence. So to get this straight, my video showing Hasan supporting terrorism got me a 30-day ban for encouraging and glorifying extreme violence. Hasan's footage of him doing it on their platform and actually encouraging terrorism, no punishment. How the fuck can you be this?
And Hasan did get banned recently, but it wasn't for that. It was because he was saying, if Republicans really care about Medicare fraud, then they would end Rick Scott. I think that's who it was, some politician. So it wasn't even anything related to the stuff in the H3 Hasan nuke.
It's blatantly, pathetically obvious. They don't care. Nothing's changing. They don't care. They're spitting in our fucking face. They're flaunting it. They don't give a fuck. I got banned for 30 days for showing his content that he wasn't punished for. Make it make sense. And, you know, people go, oh, it was automated. It was probably a mistake. Well, fair enough, right? And that's why I appealed it. And within a few hours, I got the answer on the appeal. Your account was recently suspended for encouraging or glorifying extreme violence. And a member of our team has reviewed your appeal, and after taking a look into the details of your case, we have determined that your account will remain suspended due to your violation of our community guidelines. I have never been so black-pilled in my life. I feel like I am trapped and that the world has gone fucking insane. This shit is bananas. What is happening? And I feel that I'm getting the same treatment now from Reddit. Now, I know they're both San Francisco-based tech companies, but did you know that these two companies in San Francisco, their headquarters are blocks away from each other? It's just interesting. It's just interesting because it shows
I mean, maybe there's something to that. I think it's more so just the culture of San Francisco and the types of people that work those tech jobs. But I mean, maybe there's some collusion between the two companies.
There's some culture happening in this tech space. I think that these people are all very similar minded. I think that's what this is telling me. Because you got to fit in. If you're going to work at one of these tech companies, you got to fall in line. You know what I mean? You got to be one of the good guys. Actually, I found out that our stream got suspended for 30 days live on the podcast.
Because it's your account. Oh, your account is currently suspended. To view more information about your enforcement, file an appeal. Okay.
Oh my God! It got banned for encouraging or glorifying extreme violence.
Whoa.
That's fucking
wow.
That's Hasan's content that's on your platform that he didn't get in trouble for. Holy fuck.
How long is the ban?
Well, it should be only a day ban, right? In theory.
Wow. In theory, it should be no ban because it's his content.
Guys, I got a 30-day ban.
30 days?
30 day, and I didn't even say 30-day ban. I mean, it was worth it to do this just for this. I'm surprised that they're this pathetic.
Yeah, because
I genuinely am too.
That's a manual ban too.
Now, after our appeal was denied, the story started to go viral for its blatant, obvious, laughably absurd.
He's saying the original? I mean, that's what they're talking about. The original ban was manual? How do they know that? Did they tell you?
Hypocrisy, at which point they panicked and unbanned our stream with an apology. We're so sorry for the inconvenience. We made the wrong decision. Well, somebody made the wrong decision manually twice. You want to fucking explain that shit?
Okay, it sounds like they do know the original ban was manual, so that makes it even worse.
Here we are, where it's acceptable to call child protective services on people as an act of political protest on a website, Reddit, in which they do not care. They protect it, they enable it. I have a meeting with CPS on Wednesday where they're going to talk to my fucking children. Twitch is banning us for showing Hasan promoting terrorism. Ban me for 30 days, no punishment for him. What the fuck is going on? As I prepare to meet CPS agents to talk to our children, I wonder, at what point has this gone too far? And how much worse can it get before something is done about it?
Utterly crazy, and I totally see what Ethan means, or what he means when he says he's black-pilled. Like, it would be really hard to go through the experiences that he's been going through lately and not be black-pilled. Like, I was one of those people who enjoyed Ethan back in the day, like the Vape Nation days, and then I kind of fell off. I just lost interest because, you know, he kind of took his content in a more lefty, soft direction. I was never somebody who hated him for that. A lot of people hated him. I just lost interest and checked out of the content. But I am becoming an H3 Ethan enjoyer. Right? It's really hard not to with how ridiculous people act around him, and just the complete demonization. It's wild. And yeah, I mean, it's been said to death, but the double standards on Twitch, completely absurd. There's like a two-tiered system for bans. You know, you have people like Asmongold, who I think was rightfully banned for what he was. I think that was 2 weeks. But Hasan after everything he's done, he's gotten 1 day ban 1 time. And then Ethan gets hit with 2 manual not 2 manual 30-day bans, but they doubled down on the manual 30-day ban. It's it's lunacy, absolute lunacy.